the Knitting Game and Other Stuff. I'm Leslie, your host, and this is episode 27. Today is August 8th, 2012. And I don't have a clever name yet for the podcast, so we'll see how it goes. Anyway, starting off, if you would like to keep in touch with me and follow along with what I'm doing, if you want to see the show notes, if you want to get links to the vendors and different projects that I'm working on, make sure you go to myordinaryjourney.com. It's all one word, and you can find links to everything that you'll need there. So, moving on. We had one new member this week, so I would like to welcome Virginia. She is He Lives WWJD. What would Jesus do? I'm guessing. So hello there, Virginia, and welcome, and thank you for joining us. And hello and welcome to everyone. If you're new or returning, it tickles my fancy to know that you're out there. I'm pleased as punch. I wonder how many cliches I can work into the show this week. Last week I was really, looser. I feel like I was a little bit more relaxed. I think it was because I was in my chair instead of here in my workroom. Here in my workroom, I feel like I should be working. So, moving on, birthdays this week, we have two. First is NJ2, that is Nancy, and our second is Mary Beth 143, and that is Mary Beth. So, ladies, happy birthday! I'm not going to do a vlog or anything like that this week. Nothing really kind of stood out at me this week. It's been a pretty even-keeled, quiet week. So we're going to move on to the question of the week, which this week, the answer to the question of the week will also be a question. All right, so here's what it is. What would you like to know about me? Now, I think this is the cutest thing. I love when other podcasters ask their listeners and viewers to give them questions so they can read them on the air and answer them. I think that's great. And I get so tickled at what you guys want to know about. I think it's great. So please, and you don't even have to do it on the Ravelry board, but there'll be something there. If you want to leave a question as a comment on the blog, that would be great too. Totally awesome. If you want to leave the question as a comment on the YouTube page, great. I don't care. Just leave me a question and I'll go through them and I'll answer some of them live on the air. And I might do a few each week. I don't know. It depends on how many questions I get. So, moving on to why everyone is here, the knitting game. So, last week, I asked whether or not you guys wanted to see me knit some of the free patterns that I have saved in my Ravelry library rather than just in my books, but some of these other ones, because my Ravelry library is just as congested with things that I just really haven't gotten to as my physical library is. So it was an overwhelming majority. I didn't even close the poll because the last time I checked this morning, it was 100% for yes, use the patterns. So you ask and you shall receive. So I am going to start a new round of voting. And because I had so many to choose from, instead of picking 5 patterns and doing 4 rounds, I've picked 6 patterns and we're going to go 5 rounds. See, I keep it fresh, keep mixing it up. Well, that's just because I really couldn't choose between some. These were the 6 that really kind of popped and stood out at me that I really wanted to explore, and I would be absolutely thrilled if you guys picked any of these. So, without further ado, round 1, and I'll explain, it's going to be all shawls again. I know last time we voted for patterns, it was shawls. I'll tell you, I had an absolute blast knitting that petal shawlette. I mean, I couldn't stop. It was addictive. And I have a feeling that most are like that. I mean, I sat there and I would highlight the pattern so I know where my slip knits and my knit two togethers were, and my through the back loops. And one part of knitting that I absolutely love, and I know this is going to sound so totally crazy, but the counting, I mean, it's like endless counting for me. And I count numbers in my head, and I count by threes. So I don't do 2, 4, 6, 8 or 5, 10, 15. No, I count by threes. It's more than 2, and I can still do the math in my head as I go along and get into the higher numbers. And then when I get to 100, I can always kind of, you got 99 as a multiple of 3, but then you've got 100, so you can start over with 100 and go 103, 106, 109, 112. So anyway, I love the counting, and you have to do that a lot when you're working on a shawl, I have found, with all the stitch markers and everything to mark your place. And I have to tell you, I didn't use one lifeline. I did have some mistakes, but I even can't see where they are now. I fixed it on the fly, and it was only 2, I think. So I think I did pretty good. So this go around, I'm also going to be featuring shawls from my free Ravelry library that I have saved. So for round 1, the first round of this go of the knitting game, I have picked as my patterns the Haruni by Emily Ross, and the Gamanian Bird by Natalia Shaw. One thing that I think is really draws me into these patterns is the way they look when they're presented on Ravelry. The yarn pops, or the photos look really professional. Like the Haruni, that one is draped over a mannequin torso, and the Gamanian Bird is just stunning with the yarn that she picked to be the feature photo for that pattern. And when you do that, it pops right off the page when you're doing a Ravelry search, and your eye keeps going back to it and back to it and back to it. Regardless of how easy or hard these are, or how convoluted the instructions are, they look amazing. I haven't even read the patterns yet, but they look so good. I just feel compelled to try these out. So that is my hint and tip of the week, I guess. I don't know who would bother, but if you're taking pictures of finished knit objects, make sure you do it, I guess, with a poppy yarn. I don't know. I feel very drawn to the yarns that they used. I think it's wonderful. So a little bit about the patterns. I went ahead and wrote down some information because there's some slight variations in them that make them different enough to, I think, feature. So one thing I did try to do with all of these shawls is they are not all the same shape. I've picked one that's triangular, one that's crescent, one that is circular, one that's a half circle. So there's different variations. So these, I know one is a crescent, and I think the Haruni is either one of those ones where the ends flip up, or it's triangular. Sorry. So the Haruni by Emily Ross, it calls for a fingering weight yarn and size 4 needles, and that would need about 480 yards of yarn that she calls for, and that is the same sort of comparable to the petal shawlette with the needle and the gauge and everything like that. So the Gamanian Bird, that one actually calls for a lace weight, or a really fine 2-ply, and also a size 4 needle. So you're using a smaller yarn with a bigger needle, so your holes for your lace are going to be bigger, I guess. But she also calls for a 10.5 US needle. I'm not exactly sure where that would go. And then she also calls for a size 3.5 millimeter or a size E crochet hook. So this sounds like it would be a really different pattern to knit. Now she's calling for, on this lace weight, 711 to 820 yards, which I don't know how much yardage I have in some of my lace weights. I think I only have one lace weight yarn in my stash that is close to that. It's a silk. It's 100% silk, and it's about 1,200 yards, I think I have. So that's a little bit about the patterns. Voting for this round will close around 3 Eastern time next Wednesday, which is August 15th. So, hey, this week I can actually say don't forget to vote. We're back to it, guys, so I'm really excited. So on to some of our updates. Well, you know how I said I really liked that petal shawlette? Well, I really liked that petal shawlette. So this is the first one I'm going to update you on. I'm finished. I actually have a finished object, everybody. So here it is, and it is blocked a little bit. I even took it to work with me today because my office can get kind of chilly, and the whole purpose of knitting the shawl in the first place is I wanted something to put around my neck. So, oh, let me tell you, I have had a blast. Okay, so if you've missed it, this was a pattern voted on. It was in the One Skein Sock Yarn Wonders. The yarn, the green purple yarn here up at the top, the body of it, this is hand spun, and it's hand spun wool and silk from Wool Gatherings, and I had a 4-ounce braid, and I spun it in a kind of fractally type way. One half of the braid that I split vertically, I just spun as was. And the other half, what I did is I spun that single. I broke down the braid into the major color blocks, and I spun the color blocks in one long repeat. So, like up here, where the parts are all green, you can see I have all green parts, but then here in the purple parts, you can see I still have some green, and that's because the single had the green. And then it just progresses down until it's more and more purpley pink. And then I wasn't going to have enough of the hand spun yarn, so I had in my stash a skein of Grace, a Louisa Harding Grace, which is 50% wool and 50% silk, just like the fiber content of my hand spun. And seriously, folks, unless you're looking really hard, it may be difficult to even see when on a quick glance where the transition between the hand spun and the commercial yarn, the bought yarn is. And you can see here at the end of this purple part, it's about, what, about 1.5 inches at the bottom. Now, I didn't have enough yarn to do the edging, so I did, as a last set, I did a row of yarn over knit 2-togethers, and then I purled back. And then thank you to Kagi from the High Fiber Diet podcast, her suggestion for a bind off for this shawl, since I'd never done one before and I knew it needed to be blocked, and I'm a tight knitter, so I didn't want to do a regular bind off because I figured that there would not be enough give on that edge to stretch it when I went to block it. So I did, on her suggestion, the knit 2 together through the back loop bind off. And you can find videos everywhere on YouTube for it. You knit 2 stitches, then as you would with a slip knit, you slip that right hand needle behind the left, and you just knit those 2 stitches through the back loops, and then you still have that 1 stitch on the right hand needle. Then what you do is for the next stitch, you knit on the left hand needle, you knit that left stitch. So now you have 2 stitches on the right hand side. So you slip that needle back behind and you knit 2 together through the back loops, and you just go all the way till you're done. And it did a wonderful, it's beautiful looking as far as bind offs go, and it blends in well. I tried to block points in, and it kind of sort of worked. I kind of have to tug on them, but I've been messing with it all day. I've been wearing it. So some interesting things. I started off originally with my hand spun. I had 306 yards, and it was 3.95 ounces of my hand spun. You want to see what I have left? This is this is 0.12 ounces of my hand spun left out of the almost 4. I'm thinking I probably only had maybe 5 yards of this hand spun left. I really did knit all the way to where I thought I was comfortable getting through a row with my hand spun, so that was good. And yeah, I didn't have much of this either. This is the Grace, Louisa Harding Grace hand dyed. So not much of this, a little bit more, but not enough to do the edging. So I really think yarn wise, I did pretty good. Alright, so I had a finished object. I completed a knitting game. So that made me happy. I actually finished this Monday. Yesterday was Tuesday. Yes, I finished this Monday in the car waiting for my husband to take a test at school, and I was so excited about it. I posted a plurk and a tweet and pictures and everything, so it was great. So not only was I able to finish my shawl, I actually today got in some knitting time on the Sayuri sweater, and I know you guys have not seen this in a while. So I will pull it out here so you can take a look, see if you don't remember what it looks like. It's blue, and it's kind of big now. I'm still working on the neck shaping. I got one more repeat in there from the last time that we talked, or the last time that I worked on the sweater. So this is 10 repeats, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I have to do 23, I mean not repeats, but increases. So I have to do, I have to get to 23, so that's 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I have to do 9 more back and forth increases. So that's not bad. That might actually take me, I might get that done by the end of the week. So that would be done with the left front side. And then I can start working on the right front side. And then when I'm done with the right front side, then I join them in the middle and I start knitting in the round down until I run out of yarn. So goody goody gumdrops with that. I'm getting along pretty good. I have to say, the Knit Sock Love knitting game, I think that one is going to be a bust. I'm going to make a decision Friday. I'm going to post a finish a frog it on Friday and get everybody's opinion, but I think I really want to frog it. Not that it's a bad pattern or anything, it just, there's so much cables, and I liked the lace. I thought I really liked cables, to tell you the truth. I thought I really liked them. I thought I did. Because it lended interest. But it was too much fiddliness with the cable needle. So I think I'm gravitating more towards the lace because it is only yarn, increases and decreases. I know you can have some cabling, but I'm purposefully trying not to pick patterns that have cabling in them because yeah, I'm just not a fan of it in excess. I mean, if you've got a cable here or there and it's a pretty no-brainer cable, like you're just doing 2x2 every 5, that's fine. But when you've got, in the sock, at one point you would have at the most 16 different cables in one round, because I think you have 8 on one side and then 8 on the other. So yeah, 16 different cable flip-floppy things at least. And that's just too much. It's just too much. So I will decide Friday, finish or frog it. And really, I think my mind's already made up, and I have a feeling you guys know what that is, but I will wait and let you guys know next week. Alrighty, so on to the other stuff, and I do have some other stuff this week. Like I said, I got my shawl done Monday in the car, and I thought, oh my god, what am I going to do for the car ride home? Well, I had some cotton yarn that I picked up. This is, it is the original Sugar and Cream. This is like the blue, white, and purple, and this is like the hot pink colors. It's the same thing, it's just, so I picked some of these up because, yeah, I think for a palette cleanse, some of these washcloth things are pretty cool. So today on the car ride home, I finished this one, and I found this pattern on Ravelry. It was a free one. I'll have to link it. I don't know what it is offhand, but it is an adaptation of an old Stitch, like a Stitch dictionary, a swatch. It's just a knit stitch, well, and a purl stitch, and then you just kind of like sort of I don't know how you'd say it, almost like a cable on the needle without taking it off. It's pretty cool. So, but no cable needles, so you just cross these stitches, and it came out really well. I did that knit 2 together through the back loop bind off for the washcloth, and I probably shouldn't have, because now it's like, but oh well. So that's that. It's just a quick little thing to pass the time, because I didn't have my Sayuri sweater with me, so I needed something to knit, and that's all I had, so that's what I did. So I have two balls of these pink. I have 2 of this blue white. It's by Lily. Then I picked up this other stuff, and this I got from, this is also a cotton. I got this from Hobby Lobby, and this is, I love this cotton, and this is the no, that's the pattern. Denims. So it is a softer cotton than this Sugar and Cream stuff. I'm not a fan of cotton. It's not the easiest stuff to work with. My daughter wanted a water bottle, and for just excuse me, my yarn fell. For just some washcloths, it's fine. So every once in a while I'll bang out a washcloth. So that is all my knitting and my knitting game and everything like that. So now we're going to go on, this is one of my others, so to spinning. Alright, so stash expansion. I did, and I'm sure most of you who are watching me have already seen this. I was in the Tri-Dye Club, and I got my final shipment, and it was from Gail's Art. And this is a Polworth silk in the Freya colorway. And I am very excited to feel this. I'm loving the colors, first of all. And I think this is going to be a wonderful spinning project. I have a feeling I'm going to try to spin this super duper frog hair fine, like super duper frog hair hair fine so that I can get as much yardage out of it as possible without my singles breaking, and do a shawl with it. And if I can get it done in time, I may have some different contestants for yarn, hand spun yarn for the shawls that you guys are going to be knitting on. So in addition to this, I also received, this is red and blue, this is 100% Tessa silk, 2 1-ounce braids. This is Brissing, and this is royal blue. So this is 2 ounces of silk that we got. It was very pretty. And then the cutest little pigtails. It is the Elvis Has Left the Building promotion, 1 through 16 August. So this is blue suede shoes, and this is gorgeous. I would love to pick some of this up. I don't know what kind of fiber this is. It feels soft. It feels kind of like the Polworth silk. So this was the blue suede shoes, which is amazing. Blue is my favorite color, so this is good. And then this is the Love Me Tender. And if I look, yeah, it does look like it's got some silk in it. So I think it's probably the same fiber. It's just dyed a little bit differently. But this blue suede shoes, this is pretty. And it's just a cute little pigtail, maybe 1/2 ounce each. So that's good. So that was my stash expansion. So that should be the last Fiber Club for a while, except I think I may be getting one more shipment from the Painted Tiger and from my Spunky Eclectic clubs. I think I have one more of each. So what I'm spinning right now, which is kind of interesting, I enjoyed spinning this, the silk merino from Wool Gathering so much that I have another braid that I picked up from her. And it is purples and pinks and some white to give it some dimension, some depth. And I'm spinning that, and I'm spinning it frog hair fine. It's a super fine merino, and it's 4 ounces. So I just started spinning that up. So that's what's on the bobbin, which means something has come off the bobbin, and I am so ecstatic. This is my Into the World in the Kimro colorway. It is the English Shetland. Oh boy, oh boy. I got 475 yards in a 2-ply out of 4 ounces. And I think she was a little generous, Chris, there, because my scale is telling me this is actually 4.1 ounces. So I think I got a little bit more than 4, but here it is, everybody. Oh my goodness. This is just, and it is overspun. It might actually even be it's over something. I've got some kinkiness happening all over the place. So I'm going to have to, I haven't washed it or anything. So that's the next step. I've got to wash it and thwack it. I don't think it's going to puff up. I don't know the statistics offhand about the Shetland. It's a coarser wool, so it's not as like next to the face fine. So it's good for stuff that you're not going to have around your face. So maybe a shawl or something, just to give you some more warmth across your shoulders. It's supposed to be pretty good. But I think the colors came out so pretty. I'm really digging this green with the orange. To me, it looks like tarnished copper pennies. And I love that color combination, that hot, like fluorescent green almost, fluorescent aqua color with that coppery. I think it's just one of nature's best color combinations, and I just love it. So that is my spinning. Oh my gosh. So, all right, now we're on to my other stuff. That's it. That's the knitting game. That's my knitting. That's my spinning. I haven't done any sewing, no hiking. It has been a crazy busy summer. So I only have 3 more things. I was able to finish my art pieces, my sculpture pieces for my Guild's 30th anniversary sculpture piece that is going into, going to be shown at the local museum here in Fredericksburg. So I'm delighted about that. The show opens September 25th, I believe, down in downtown Fredericksburg. It's also the same time as the American Quilt Roadshow, I think. So something to think about if you're in the area. I think it's a really great time for fiber arts in this area. We're going to get a lot of exposure come end of September and through October. So it's phenomenal. And it's going to be a lot of fun to see how that sculpture turned out. I don't have any pictures of the pieces because I finished it about 15 minutes before I had to head out the door. So I didn't get time to take photos. So hopefully I'll have some pictures when the piece is put together. Storm recovery update. Today's Wednesday. We get the window in on Friday, so that is wonderful. I can't wait. This is just an eyesore and becoming a mess, and I'm sure I'm breeding some sort of weird new Ebola strain in the water and the mosquitoes. It's going to be bad. So it's a good thing that we've got the window coming. The only other thing I have, and it's a favor that I would like to ask you guys out there. If you are an indie dyer and you have some room to pursue a side project in the spring. Now I'm talking about January through May or June, but not the whole 6 months, just a portion. If you could contact me via Plurk, I don't care. Plurk, Ravelry, email me, it doesn't really matter. I have an idea and I want to move forward with it, but I need some help. So if you're an indie dyer and if you're watching, which, okay, that will tickle me to no end. If you could just reach out to me, I would love to hear from you because I have a really great idea, I think, and I've got some support here at home, but what I want to do, I cannot do on my own. I just don't have the technical know-how or the capacity to do what I want to do. So if you're a viewer and you want to know what's going on, you're just going to have to wait. Hopefully my idea will get off the ground because I'm very excited about it. It just it makes me very, very happy. So thank you very much, everyone, for watching. I know this is a longer show. It's probably one of the longer ones I've done in a while. Don't forget to vote. It's the Haruni and the Gamian bird, and I can't wait to work on something. This is going to be a great week, so thank you, and don't forget to play the game. Bye.